Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison made a stop in Duluth today, visiting residents at the Zenith Terrace manufactured home park. This visit comes 1 year after that park was purchased by a private equity firm. Northern News Now's Maggie Franzen spoke exclusively with Ellison on his concern for the neighborhood's corporate management.
Attorney General Ellison went door to door in the community, listening to residents' concerns about the recent ownership transition from local to corporate management and what that could mean for the property and residents' future.
And so as the Attorney General's office, we are very concerned about home prices, about affordability, about making sure people can afford their lives. So we're just listening to people, just checking in with them, talking to them, asking them how they're experiencing the situation.
Since the transition, residents say they have faced rent increases and strict new regulations, including rules on what can and cannot be displayed in their front yards. As these changes roll out, the Attorney General wants the community to know he is there for support.
It's hard to serve the people if you're not talking to the people. So I'm talking to the people, and that's what we do.
Neighbors say they felt supported and seen by the visit, and they hope to continue banding together as a team to advocate for their community.
Some of us have different things than others do, but I hope people get involved.
The Attorney General's message to the community is clear. Asking for help is how you receive help, and aims to give the community the resources they needed to do so.
So people know who they can call if they feel that they do need to make that call. At this point, we just shared some information, we listened, and I think, and I'm happy with the outcome.
In Duluth, Maggie Franzen, Northern News Now.